I'm your co-host, Pat Gibbons. That being said, I'm going to pass the mic on to my friend and co-host, Wally. Hey, Wally, what do you hear? What do you say?
Hey, how's everyone doing today? We're just going to talk about the future, about Chicago crime and the veterans in Chicago.
Tune in Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Conservative Talk Radio with Pat and Wally. Should be a great show. We look forward to your engagement. We'll be talking about safety issues in the city of Chicago, how our veterans need help and assistance, better needed care. And also, too, very importantly, we are going to talk about the Chicago mayor that needs to be called out. I'm Pat.
I'm Wally.
And this is Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. Tune in to Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk on Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., starting June 5th.
The views and opinions in the following show do not necessarily reflect that of this station or its ownership.
Welcome to Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk on 1590 AM or 95.9 FM. We're going to have a great show today, a great show. Wally's out today. He's running a campaign for the 29th Ward. You know, he's the committeeman in the 29th Ward, and he's running a hard campaign. He couldn't be here today. But I'm here today with a great guest, a great conservative Republican. And I always get great conservative Republicans, as you know. But this one is the best of the best. He is a maverick in the political world. I'm telling you, a great maverick, Mr. Chad Koppie. Mr. Koppie, what do you hear? What do you say?
Here today with you, Pat. I'm looking forward to doing the show with you.
Oh, wow. It's great for you. It's great that you're here today. Mr. Koppie, let's dive in your background a little bit in the political world. Let's tell the audience, what is your background in politics a little bit?
Well, I'm super conservative, and of course, my mainstay is right to life, and of course, that doesn't diminish any ideas that I have about the Constitution or the our government affairs, such as the Bill of Rights, etc. So I am well informed about so many different issues because I've been a world traveler and. Quite frankly, I've been in many different endeavors in many different places, and I've learned my lessons.
Okay. You ran for governor, right?
I did. I ran against George Ryan several years ago, and we did quite well in the polls, but we didn't win, of course.
Okay. And you're a conservative Republican, one of the best. You were from the Constitutional Party, is that correct?
At one time, I was affiliated with the Constitution Party, but it was I'm a full-scale Republican at the moment.
Okay.
Not at the moment, but forever.
And last race, you ran for what again?
I ran in the 8th Congressional District, Elgin, and all the way in toward O'Hare was the district. And we did quite well in the polls there also, but we didn't win, of course. And the Democratic candidate won the election in the final analysis.
Mm-hmm. And the guy that won that primary, he was a big rhino, correct?
Well, I consider him to be somewhat of a rhino, let's put it that way.
All right, right. And there's a lot of rhinos within the Chicago Republican Party, within the Cook County Republican Party, all over, really. We're trying to get rid of those guys.
Exactly. And let's work at it. Let's try to get it.
And currently, you are going to run for office, correct?
I currently plan to run in the 7th Congressional District in Chicago, and there's a couple of suburbs there, too, in the 7th Congressional District, but I will run.
Nice. I like that. And you're a United States Army veteran, too.
I am.
Very good. And we were talking about a little bit before the show, you have over 27,000 hours flying, mostly over the Atlantic, correct?
Good share of it over the Atlantic. I was a jumbo jet captain for a major airline and flew for the major airline for 35 years.
Wow.
I was a senior pilot out of Chicago and senior pilot out of New York City's JFK with that major airline.
God bless you. Wow, that's incredible. And you're a great-grandfather, too, currently, right?
Grandfather of 12 and a great-grandfather of 4 more.
Wow. That's great. That's great. And I hear that aviation runs in your family.
Yes, I have two sons that are airline pilots, and one of them is flying in the Atlantic right now. He's a jumbo jet captain also.
Wow. Very good. And you're currently running in the race, right? Always been a hard Republican. And right to life. You're pro-life. Yes, sir?
Thoroughly pro-life.
Amen. Pro-life. And that's been your campaign motto all throughout your life, right? Being pro-life?
It has been.
That's good. That's good. We were talking before the show. He recently passed away, I believe a year ago or 2 years ago, Joe Schuyler, right?
We was very good, very well acquainted, very well, in other words, we cooperated quite well together in campaigns with certain issues that most people understand what I'm talking about on that.
Very good. We were talking about before the show, is there any way we can maybe reverse this HB 40 bill? Ladies and gentlemen, we had a great guest the day before, Jeannie Ives. We were talking about this issue about HB 40. Is there any way we can overturn this nasty, nasty bill when it comes to abortion, solidifying it in Illinois, basically?
Well, we all endeavor to do whatever we can, but this opposition that's out there, this power that's out there, there's a tremendous power out there that's so negative that is difficult to. We could always let's go for it. Let's do what we can do to try to overcome.
Right. As we all know, Roe v. Wade was overturned in the United States Supreme Court, 5-4 decision, and now it's up to the states. And Illinois is one of the, I would say, one of the worst states when it comes to abortion. Everybody's coming into the state left and right. They want abortions. Pritzker is waving them in left and right, and this is a sad case.
They even have vans circulating outside the borders of the state that's inviting people from other states to come, and we'll carry you into the state of Illinois so that you can get your abortion there.
That's disgusting. It's crazy. And, I know that Joe Schuyler, he had a way where he would put aborted maybe fetuses on billboards, stuff to that effect, to wake up people. Hey, this is a human life. Like wake-up call billboards.
Yes, he was very instrumental in leadership on that type of an issue, which was very controversial, which still is. And of course, what I have endeavored to do was follow suit with what he was doing, except that my approach is a little bit different. During my campaigns, all of my campaigns, I always run explicit ads on TV showing the dead fetuses, and it's not I don't enjoy that. I don't like it.
Right.
But if you can't look at it, why are we doing it?
Right. And since 1973, Roe v. Wade, we have had 63 million babies murdered.
Correct.
That's it. Yeah.
That's 4,000 a day.
4,000 a day.
It's equivalent of 10 747s full of people going down every single day.
Oh, that's incredible. It's incredible. And you hear people talking about the Titanic, right? The Titanic that, 1,500 died. Well,
yeah.
It was a sad case.
Yeah. It was 1912 on the 15th day of April, whatever it was. But anyway, they struck an iceberg, and it was a terrible accident, no question about it. 1,500 people lost their lives. But 1,500 on a one-time deal like that, and it was an accident, and we still talk about it as recently as this submarine that went down and collapsed. It resurrected the whole idea about the Titanic all over again. And 1,500 people lost their lives. It's a terrible accident, terrible thing. But considering we do 4,000 abortions a day in the United States of America, and it gets very little attention compared to the Titanic or any other tragedy that's happened, such as the World Trade Center there was 3,000 Americans that were killed that day. Terrible, no question. And every bit of attention that they get deserved, except for one thing. That was a one-shot deal, but that day when we lost 3,000 people in the attack, we, American people, allowed 4,000 of our own to be killed that day and the day before and the day after and every day since.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In World War II, over 50 million, correct?
Yeah, World War II was 50 million dead people worldwide. That was combatants and civilians alike on both sides. And that was a terrible, terrible war. But that compared again, perspective-wise, when you think about 63 million Americans and all of their offspring. In other words, there's people who would be grandparents now. If they hadn't been aborted back in 1963 and ever since. So there's all of the offspring, they're gone too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we hear in history how 6 million Jews were killed in World War II. The Nazis would throw babies into ovens, that's been told, and it's horrific. But no one talks about the abortions that's happening in America, which is equivalent to, when you think about it, Nazi Germany. Right beneath everybody's nose, babies are being killed left and right.
Well, the bad thing about it is, the worst thing about it is people many people are of the volition that it's not their problem, or that it's like the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court said, it's settled law. Unfortunately, he voted the right way on the final analysis just lately in June of 22. Mm-hmm. But this thing about it being settled law, and the Pope, he's of that volition also, type of thing. So it's a very serious matter. Mm-hmm. I mean, what could be? It kind of goes like this: if abortion is okay, what is not?
Right. Justice Roberts, the United States Supreme Court judge. He's Catholic, and he went against, that. It was a 5-4 decision. Roe v. Wade was overturned, but he was one of the guys that said, no, it's set law, like you said. And
but he did vote correctly to overturn. He came around and voted correctly. But before that, he was saying it's settled law. We don't want to talk about it.
Oh, he was one of the 5.
Yeah, but he voted correctly to overturn.
Okay.
There's no question about that.
Okay.
Thank goodness, and thank you, Judge, for that.
Right. And now it's down to the states, and there are some states like Missouri and Alabama that has very strict laws in abortion, where they're totally pro-life, I believe. I believe in Texas it's totally pro-life, 100%, and that's a beautiful thing. So we see progress in this area. Would you say it's going in the right direction?
Correct.
Right.
There is no question that it's vastly improved. The situation is vastly improved. And when you say 4,000 a day, well, maybe that's been diminished since the overturn, maybe somewhat. But I doubt, because the states that don't allow it the people from those states can go to, say, the state of Illinois and get an abortion. And it's so diminished, I don't know how much.
Mm-hmm. We could thank President Trump, too, for putting 3 great Supreme Court judges on the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yes.
Thank Donald Trump for that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, commercial break. Okay, we're going to commercial break. And if you guys or gals want to call in, our phone number is 877-711-5611. Here with Mr. Koppie on Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. Thank you.
Producing your own podcast can be frustrating.
Test 1, 2.
Which is why I'm glad to be introducing the brand new multi-format network. We offer digital media, podcasting, and radio broadcasting professional standard production and syndication. Whether you're looking to bolster and polish your business presentations for a Zoom interview, host your podcast, or push your nationally syndicated radio broadcast to a satellite, we can facilitate your every need. So when you're ready to look, sound, and be professional, don't just try to do it yourself. Contact the professionals at the new multi-format network, the Multi-Format Network. From professional syndication to personal vindication, we've got your back. Shoot us an email, mfngeneralmanager@gmail.com. mfngeneralmanager@gmail.com.
Hello, radio listeners. Welcome to WCGO 1590 AM or 95.9 FM. We have a new conservative show on the airwaves, and it's called Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. I'm your co-host, Pat Gibbons. That being said, I'm going to pass the mic on to my friend and co-host, Wally. Hey, Wally, what do you hear? What do you say?
Hey, how's everyone doing today? We're just going to talk about the future, about Chicago crime and the veterans in Chicago.
Tune in Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Conservative Talk Radio with Pat and Wally. Should be a great show. We look forward to your engagement. We'll be talking about safety issues in the city of Chicago, how our veterans need help and assistance, better needed care, and also, too, very importantly, we are going to talk about the Chicago mayor that needs to be called out. I'm Pat.
I'm Wally.
And this is Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. Tune in to Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk on Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. starting June 5th.
It is estimated that 1.5 million people are arrested for DUI every year in the United States. In Illinois alone, over 30,000 motorists are arrested for DUI. Driving under the influence of alcohol, marijuana, or drugs is one of the most complex of traffic charges on the books. Most people do not understand the complexities of the standardized field sobriety tests, which are horizontal gaze nystagmus, the walk and turn, and the one-leg stand test. Due to improper testing procedures, many people are wrongfully charged with DUI. Whether you have been charged with a DUI or an attorney handling DUI cases, the book DUIs Decoded explains the proper procedures for standardized field sobriety testing, breathalyzer testing, and the penalties in Illinois for driving under the influence.
Real estate, be it residential or commercial, is often a person's most significant and priciest asset. Entering into a contract to buy or sell a real estate property is much more than just filling in the missing blanks on the printed contract. It's wise to hire a lawyer to prepare or review the offer to purchase real estate and take full advantage of his legal expertise. With Mark Sheblo, you will gain an attorney with over 26 years of legal practice and one who has helped thousands of clients to buy or sell their homes or investment property. We will safeguard your interests and might be able to even negotiate a better bargain than a client without proper legal counsel ever could. Oftentimes, a prospective buyer will submit an offer without first consulting an attorney, not realizing that once the offer is accepted by the seller, it becomes a binding contract, and the terms of that contract are not easy to be changed afterwards. Likewise, as a seller, you too will benefit from first consulting an attorney before signing. Feel free to call us for consultation at the law offices of Mark Sheblo at 773-775-5050. Our website is sheblolawoffice.com. Mark Sheblo can be reached 6 days a week at 773-775-5050, Monday through Saturday, located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's attorney Mark Sheblo, 773-775-5050.
All right, we're back on Pat Wally's Conservative Talk on WCGO 1590 AM or 95.9 FM. If you want to call in, we would love your call at 877-711-5611. Again, 877-711-5611. Here with political maverick, great conservative Republican, Mr. Chad Koppie. It's been brought to our attention that, yes, it was 5-4 decision where the United States Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, a great decision. We can thank President Trump for that, for getting 3 Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court that is hardcore conservative. And Roberts was one of the judges that, hey, he didn't want to overturn the law. So
I was terribly misinformed on that, and I just published over the radio here that he was on the right side of the issue. Well, that's not correct. I'm most apologetic for misinforming that information.
That's okay. You know, it just shows that he's a rhino, Roberts, in the long run, you know, supposed Catholic. Like Nancy Pelosi professes that she is a Catholic. She's not really a Catholic. And then we have whom? We have Joe Biden that throws out that rosary out there showing the world that he's a Catholic, but he's not really a Catholic at the end of the day, you know, because a real Catholic is not pro-abortion, period.
How about Dick Durbin?
There you go.
There's another one.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a disappointment that the church doesn't do more to stop these people from their claim that they are devout Catholics, and at the same time they're pro-abortion. That just doesn't add up. It doesn't fly.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Right, that's true, 100%. And these liberal politicians, they love to use any means whatsoever, fake news, FBI, like they're attacking Mr. Trump right now. Right, Mr. Koppie? They're attacking him left and right with this kangaroo court that's coming up with these made-up federal charges. It's just sickening. You know, Hunter Biden, he has a big cocaine issue, and he was probably his stash at the White House, who knows, a couple days ago. I mean, he visited Camp David, right? And all of a sudden they find cocaine.
Yeah, it's funny that Mr. Hunter Biden happened to be in residence at the White House at the time. That's quite coincidental, I think, but
Yes.
nonetheless.
Yes. And nothing, no charges whatsoever. Equivalent of a traffic ticket violation is what Hunter Biden got, a slap on the wrist. And these liberals, FBI, they're rushing these made-up federal charges against Trump because they're absolutely scared of the man. They're absolutely scared of him because they know he's the one guy that can win. He has a great chance of winning.
The fear of the power that exists out there is it's tremendous. That people just don't want to go against that power. They're afraid, but that fear is enabling the I wish I could say properly what I want to say, but I have difficulty. But the negative effects of this power that's permeates throughout the Washington, D.C., and the ridiculous nonsense that comes out of there is quite unbelievable. So what...
Trump, he exposes the crooked media, and he does it so well. He has such moxie, like you, Mr. Koppie, moxie, and that's what the liberals are scared of. They're scared of a conservative that talks up. They ostracize us. They try to shut us up on radio, what have you, Facebook. They don't let us share stuff on Facebook, and it's obvious. So it's a crooked media. I know, for instance, because I'm a community activist, I try to do press conferences out there when it concerns violence and stuff like that. Media never plays me. They never play me. They love playing these liberal, supposed, community activists on the news, but they don't play me. And I'm telling you, Mr. Koppie, they're fake. They're fake. They like their own agenda.
Fake news all over.
Yes.
Yeah. And the agenda is socialistic. In other words, communistic. Socialism is closet communism. Is what socialism is. If anything that the Communist Manifesto says, well, socialism says the same thing.
Would you say that, the Democratic Party has become more and more progressive, more socialist as time went on?
And it's happening at a tremendous increased rate.
Right.
In other words, however the movement has been, it's been ever since the Biden election and the Pelosi regime, it just moved tremendously in the wrong direction. so sad and so dangerous. The republic itself is in danger of collapse. I can see how that the Republic of the United States could become non-existent. World government, WEF, Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum, and then, of course, you got the United Nations. World government is at the door. If President Trump or somebody cannot, if could be such a thing that we're totally reliant on somebody like President Trump to rescue this nation.
Mr. Koppie, you're around my dad's age. He said to me, my dad, that John F. Kennedy, if he was running today, he would be a Republican, because the Democratic Party back when, when my dad was young, when you were young, they were not as liberal. They weren't far left wing, like they are. They're so left wing today. They're out of the ballpark. They're out of the ballpark. Would you agree with that, John F. Kennedy? If he was alive today and running in politics, he would be more of a Republican?
Well, his nephew is running. As Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is running for president, and quite frankly, I'm not endorsing him for president, but I'm going to say that he is of that volition. In other words, he makes sense. In other words, he's not this wild-eyed left-wing liberal that such as Biden and the Clintons and Obamas. Down just goes on right on down the line.
Right, I noticed that too. And his dad, of course, was a very, very devout Christian, and he would have been probably a very good president. So I could see why he's from that cloth, that same.
Yeah,
right.
In other words, he's not like I say again, the wild-eyed liberal that the Biden type administrators are.
Right. So you're going to be running, right? Your own campaign.
I would like to run again in the 7th Congressional District in Chicago and a couple of suburbs, so I'm intending to do that. And, of course, I have no illusions about winning the contest. I don't harbor illusions like that. But the other thing about it is it's a forum that I'm going to take so I can say what needs to be, or what I want to say, what I believe ought to be said about major issues.
Sure.
There's so many of them that you can't count them here. And here's this one thing I do want to say something about is the letter agencies, ABC agencies, how the FBI, the CIA, and all of that treachery that goes on, and the power that they have. An agency can create rules and regulations that have the power of law. They're not even voted in. They're not. It's not. But they have the authority, and they have they're weaponized. They have the ammunition to enforce their rules and regulations. You can be arrested by the FBI or the CIA or even many of the other agencies, letter agencies. A lot of these agencies ought to be annihilated, gone.
Right. I agree.
FBI should be disbanded. I don't know. There's no question that there's honorable people in the FBI. There's no question about that. But the leadership has been wrong ever since Herbert Hoover. I mean, he's always been, cross-dresser and all that type of thing.
He had a file on everyone. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Even on himself.
True.
So, when they wire a candidate like they did to Trump, you would think there's something going on there. They're in cahoots. And that's a word that's never used, but cahoots is a word with the Clinton mob family, you know, who knows how many criminals, yeah. And Obama, there, you know, it's just interesting how it's so lopsided, the justice system. It's a two-tier justice system in this country, you know. There's one for the political politicians, they're connected politicians, and there's one for the average Joe, and it's simply not fair. It's simply unbalanced when you think about it, the justice system in this country. It's a two-tier justice system. And the FBI, like you said, Mr. Koppie, they can, like they did to Martha Stewart, hey, you lied, you're going to prison. Who said she lied? You know? But that's what they say, you know? And that's what we're dealing with, you know? You think you're protected by the First Amendment, you're not really protected at the end of the day.
Power.
Right.
Power is a serious matter. Money and power run together. If you got money, you got power. And if you got power, you got money. And this power situation is... power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that's what we've got in Washington, D.C. right now. We got an administration that's totally out of control. Look at Mayorkas. Mm-hmm. And all of the what's the cabinet? The entire cabinet is well, they're and what they got to do and what they do. In other words, when they're in a congressional hearing or one thing or another, they just stonewall, and there's nothing that anybody can do to stop them from stonewalling. Mm-hmm. In other words, they get by with it, and they just keep on repeating the same, the most serious questions that they can be thrown at them. They can just say, well, they can get by with maintaining a nonsensical approach. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing so far nothing can be done to stop them except for a new election and a new president, so we can get rid of that cabinet that's in there.
Right. And that's why the Republican silent majority, the voters, they have to vote this upcoming election. You can't sit out in 2024. You have to get out and vote. If you don't like those high gas prices, if you don't like the high grocery prices, cost of living is through the roof. It's over 9%. Then get out there and vote. Get this bozo out of the White House. Get these bozos in local government out, okay? Democrats is ruining this state. It's ruining this country. And we have to do everything we can to get not just not just Republicans, but conservative Republicans, okay? And there's a difference, right, Mr. Koppie? We have the rhinos out there that's acting like they're conservatives, and there's the actual real conservatives out there. Would you say so?
Oh, absolutely. They're ineffective. In other words, not worse than that. By being ineffective, they're effectively helping the opposition.
Right. It's true. Issues like you would be running, try to make it better within society. You see, there's high taxes, right? And there's a lot of the cost of living is high. Crime is high, correct?
Whoa, it's out of control.
It's out of control.
Look at what's happening out on the West Coast. I mean, San Francisco, Portland, just cities are just being totally ruined. Chicago being right behind them.
Right. And just a few hours ago, we have 3 criminals, lowlives, that's dressed in black, with a mask over their face, coming out of a van, robbing people left and right in the Portage Park area. Be careful, folks. I say get your concealed carry out and be prepared, because our brave police officers are simply outmanned and outgunned, And that being said, we're going to commercial break on Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. If you want to call, our number is 877-711-5611. Thank you.
Producing your own podcast can be frustrating.
Test 1, 2. Ah!
which is why I'm glad to be introducing the brand new multi-format network. We offer digital media, podcasting, and radio broadcasting professional standard production and syndication. Whether you're looking to bolster and polish your business presentations for a Zoom interview, host your podcast, or push your nationally syndicated radio broadcast to a satellite, we can facilitate your every need. So when you're ready to look, sound, and be professional, don't just try to do it yourself. Contact the professionals at the new multi-format network, the Multi-Format Network. From professional syndication to personal vindication, we've got your back. Shoot us an email, mfngeneralmanager@gmail.com. mfngeneralmanager@gmail.com.
Hello, radio listeners. Welcome to WCGO 1590 AM or 95.9 FM. We have a new conservative show on the airwaves, and it's called Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. I'm your co-host, Pat Gibbons. That being said, I'm going to pass the mic on to my friend and co-host, Wally. Hey, Wally, what do you hear? What do you say?
Hey, how's everyone doing today? We're just going to talk about the future, about Chicago crime and the veterans in Chicago.
Tune in Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Conservative Talk Radio with Pat and Wally. Should be a great show. We look forward to your engagement. We'll be talking about safety issues in the city of Chicago, how our veterans need help and assistance, better needed care. And also, too, very importantly, we are going to talk about the Chicago mayor that needs to be called out. I'm Pat.
I'm Wally.
And this is Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. Tune in to Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk on Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. starting June 5th.
It is estimated that 1.5 million people are arrested for DUI every year in the United States. In Illinois alone, over 30,000 motorists are arrested for DUI. Driving under the influence of alcohol, marijuana, or drugs is one of the most complex of traffic charges on the books. Most people do not understand the complexities of the standardized field sobriety tests, which are horizontal gaze nystagmus, the walk and turn, and the one-leg stand test. Due to improper testing procedures, many people are wrongfully charged with DUI. Whether you have been charged with a DUI or an attorney handling DUI cases, the book DUIs Decoded explains the proper procedures for standardized field sobriety testing, breathalyzer testing, and the penalties in Illinois for driving under the influence.
Real estate, be it residential or commercial, is often a person's most significant and priciest asset. Entering into a contract to buy or sell a real estate property is much more than just filling in the missing blanks on the printed contract. It's wise to hire a lawyer to prepare or review the offer to purchase real estate and take full advantage of his legal expertise. With Mark Sheblo, you will gain an attorney with over 26 years of legal practice and one who has helped thousands of clients to buy or sell their homes or investment property. We will safeguard your interests and might be able to even negotiate a better bargain than a client without proper legal counsel ever could. Oftentimes, a prospective buyer will submit an offer without first consulting an attorney, not realizing that once the offer is accepted by the seller, it becomes a binding contract, and the terms of that contract are not easy to be changed afterwards. Likewise, as a seller, you too will benefit from first consulting an attorney before signing. Feel free to call us for consultation at the law offices of Mark Sheblo at 773-775-5050. Our website is sheblolawoffice.com. Mark Sheblo can be reached 6 days a week at 773-775-5050, Monday through Saturday, located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's attorney Mark Sheblo, 773-775-5050.
We're back on WCGO 1590 AM or 95.9 FM. I'm Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. Wally, if you're out there, what do you hear? What do you say? Our phone number is 877-711-5611. 877-711-5611. I don't care if you're liberal. Give me a question. We'll take it. Right, Mr. Koppie?
Absolutely.
We'll take it. We'll take it. We got C.I.N.N. That being said, you're known, Mr. Koppie, for your explicit ads, your conservative, beautiful ads. Tell the crowd about your ads.
Well, I don't like to run those ads. As a matter of fact, I very much dislike having to run those ads. But I feel that if people can't stand to look at those ads, then we shouldn't be doing that type of thing. In other words, why would we be, well, quite frankly, let's use a word, killing or slaughter of human beings that deserve to live. They deserve a right to life. And if we're going to be cutting them up like we do, and one thing and another, then that's my volition to show it, what's really happening. Mm-hmm. You know, in other words, there's a torso. Take a look. You don't like it. I don't like it either. But it's the truth. It's the truth of the matter.
In the Declaration of Independence, it says the right to life.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
The right to life. And it's scientifically proven that is a human being within the mother's womb, 100%. And, you know, we're not here to change your mindset, but we're here to wake you up at the same time. And Mr. Koppie, in your lifetime, have you ever changed an individual's mind on their set, you know, I don't know, their convictions when it comes to abortion? Well, let's say they were really staunch on being pro-abortion. Did you change them to be pro-life?
Not that I know of that I'm fully, completely satisfied that did happen. But what I do want to believe is that the explicit ads that I have run in the past on a couple, 3 different campaigns that I've already run, where I've run these explicit ads on television and showing the dead fetuses and one thing and another. And anyway, I would like to believe that some way, somehow, maybe just one life has been saved because of the depiction of those ads. Mm-hmm. So if there's just one life been saved out of all of the ads that I've ever ran, in which I intend to run some more, if there's just any lives or one life or a dozen lives or anything like that that's been saved, that is everything. That is everything, just one life, shall we say. So I would be very gratified to know if that did happen, but I'll never know, of course.
Beautifully well said. It's true. It's true. And how many years have you been out there fighting for the right to life, Mr. Koppie?
Well, the first time that I ran for the U.S. Senate was in 1992, and that's when Bill Clinton got elected. But I was on the same campaign trails that he was. He was on the United States campaign trails, but I was on the campaign trails all over all over the state of Illinois. And I used to fly a biplane that I had and at many different locations to help demonstrate the major issues that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you're so good at planes. You gave training, correct, at a college?
Yeah, I was an instructor at Purdue University for the Army, Navy, and Air Force ROTC programs. In other words, I was a flight instructor at that time. And that's been several years ago, of course. But I've instructed a lot of different pilots down through the time. I still got a flight instructor's rating at this time. Still got one right at the moment.
It's like riding a bike, huh?
Mm.
Wow. We were talking about the air. I asked you a question pertaining to the air. Are you confident 100%, or is there a little scare when you're in the air?
Oh, there's times when you, there's no question about it, when you wish you were on the ground. In other words, stormy weather and things like that. As a matter of fact, I got hijacked one time. I was under the hijacker's gun. But it wasn't. I was not the captain on that airplane. I was a co-pilot. But nonetheless, the hijacker had a cocked, loaded .45 automatic, and he was in the cockpit with us, and he was threatening to take the airplane with him when he went. But fortunately, we had a flight engineer who was able to communicate with this gentleman I shouldn't call anyway, this hijacker.
Yeah.
And he was able to convince that hijacker to relent his campaign, and he gave up the gun, and the captain took the gun, and we landed in Miami, and the FBI took him in tow, and we were very fortunate. But I watched the guy The FBI was there to meet the airplane because we called ahead after we got control of the airplane. But the FBI was there to meet the airplane, and that's back when they were honorable, or at least we believed that at that time. But anyway, the captain gave the .45 over to the FBI man, and he opened the chamber, and I watched him do it, and there was a shell underneath the hammer, and the hammer was pulled back. So it was a very dangerous situation, and fortunately we lived.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah. Very fortunately, we lived. And there was a United States Senator, I think his name was John East, if I remember correctly. He was a United States Senator we had aboard in the cabin.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And you had to be cool under pressure at all times, right? Of course.
It was scary.
I bet.
It was scary, yeah. I quite frankly, I can't remember how scared I was. Mm-hmm. In other words, it looked like it was maybe we was going to lose the airplane.
Wow. Over 27,000 hours in the air. That's incredible.
Yeah, I was captain on the airline for the major portion of the 35 years that I was there. Mm. I think I was captain in something like 5 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it was a real joy. That was my passion. Aviation was my passion. I really enjoyed that career tremendously. And last time I landed, came from Brussels, Belgium, and we had 306 passengers aboard and a crew of 14, and we landed at JFK out of Brussels, Belgium. So that was the last trip that I made, and that was in October of 1996.
Wow.
Yeah.
35 years.
35 years. I served for 35 years, yeah.
God bless you. Wow, that's incredible.
Very fortunate. Well, beautiful career. But like I want to say it's kind of like this. You can be very comfortable, everything just going just fine in this business, and all of a sudden up jumps the devil, shall we say, and you can be dead a very short period of time if things go wrong, terribly wrong. Mm-hmm. It kind of goes like this. The sea is, the air is like the sea. It is... The sea is terribly unforgiving of any carelessness or neglect, and then the air is the same thing. If any carelessness or neglect, it can be very tragic.
Mm. Do you miss it?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
I had to ask.
Yeah, yeah. It was the last airplane I flew. I put my hand down on three throttles, but anyway, it was a Lockheed L-1011, but 100,000 horsepower.
Wow.
That's a lot of power.
It sounds like it. There's a lot of horses. So these jumbo jets, capacity, how many people can a jumbo jet hold, approximately?
Well, the big ones, they've even been up to as much as 500 people that I'm aware of. I'm not totally informed on this issue, but say 500. But the 747s, they would hold essentially 400 people. So a big 747, and some perspective. If you took all of the abortions that are committed in the United States of America every day, which is essentially 4,000. Mm-hmm. Well, you'd have to distribute them amongst 10 different 747s, and all of them be lost. And that's a perspective of how serious this issue is. The Atlantic, when the Titanic went down to 1,500 people, well, that was terrible. Mm-hmm. But again, 10 747s down every day,
Right.
That's the equivalent. That's the perspective.
4,000 abortions per day.
4,000 abortions per day, and 10 747s to hold 4,000 people.
That's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah. And that's what's happening. This is a true story. That's how serious this matter is. How could we be talking about 1,500 people that on the Titanic yet that happened in 1912, and every day 4,000 of our very own are sacrificed by this menace? How could it be? I mean, and it goes like this: if abortion is okay, what is not okay?
Right. It's legalized murder. That's exactly what it is. Yep. It's sad. It's a sad case, and I hope one day, Mr. Koppie, that maybe one day people will be a little more responsible when it comes to, having sex with the, or use contraception. Basic, 101 sex 101 stuff. Not. I mean. Just most of your abortions, and it's just like they don't care. Especially younger people, they just have sex, and then they have the abortion because they don't have the means to afford the baby. Well, if then that's the case, give the baby up to adoption. There's many adoption centers out there that would love to have a child.
Well, what about, I came from a family of 9. There were 9 children. I'm number 5 out of 9, but we were I was born in 1938 in northwest Iowa. We had no electricity. We had no running water. We had no plumbing, nothing. But we got along quite nicely with 9 children. So we had chickens and things like that, and we produced a lot of our own big gardens and things like that. And then, of course, World War II happened shortly after I was born. And so all the rationing and everything else that happened. So this idea that you can't afford a child that you, how come we could afford them then?
Right.
How could my parents afford 9 and at a time when things weren't easy like they are today?
Right. I guess it comes down to really irresponsibility, Mr. Koppie. Right. Baby boomers. We're part of the baby boom generation.
Yeah.
9 kids. Wow. And you lived on a farm.
Yeah, dirt farm. It wasn't a very good farm, but it was adequate. In other words, we were happy there. It wasn't like a hard living or anything like that. We were very happy people. And the school that I went to was a Catholic school in a local community where I lived at, and we were taught by the BVM's, Blessed Virgin Mary nuns. And they still had the black robes and the capes and all that type of thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Back in the day where the nuns would hit you with a ruler, right?
Yeah.
To get out of line there. Yeah. Well, that's when real discipline was instituted,
Yeah.
Catholic schools. Now they're not so much in that discipline.
Well, we had order.
Right.
In other words, there wasn't a bunch of foolishness with people running around shooting at each other or hijacking cars and things like that,
Right.
Or burning down the courthouse or the churches or things like that.
It was so much better back then. Discipline was better back then. That's what we have to get back.
Yeah.
Bring back the moral compass. Thank you, Mr. Koppie, for coming on Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. You're awesome.
I'm delighted. Thank you for this opportunity to speak publicly like this, and I appreciate it, Pat.
No problem. It's been a pleasure. And thank you for joining us on Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk on WCJO 1590 AM. Thank you.
The Union Stockyard, Chicago is one town that won't let you down. It's my kind of town.
Producing your own podcast.
WCGO 1590 AM, W240EH 95.9 FM, Evanston, Chicago.